A very good evening to one and all presenter. Am I audible? So now we are going to begin the ASIN placement session, and we are really grateful to have you have both of you here. So a very good evening to everyone again. On the behalf of SCS and the Career Council, we welcome you to this enlightening session, ASIN Placement. I'm Ravina, and I'm truly delighted to host you today. Are you confused about which career profile you want to choose? Are you having doubts about your chosen profile? Are you confused about what to do for a good career? Don't worry, your Saka, the Career Council, is here for all your doubts. The Student Counselling Services is a student faculty body which aims at the holistic advancement of students on campus. It has five councils, namely the Wellness Council, the Skill Development Council, the Career Council, the International Exchange Council, and the Wellness Council. And we also have Operation Vertical to manage all the operations of SCS. Now we have the Career Council, which helps the students on campus to get best career domain and back their dream careers. The Career Council takes multiple initiatives, including the ACING placements, ACING internships, intern diary and placement diary, career bootcamp, and AMA sessions. Let's have a quick look at all of them. Acing placements include sessions aiming to help the students ace the placements and back their dream placement through online sessions by seniors who have already aced their placements. Just like acing placements, we also have acing internships, which include a series of online sessions, similarly, which is guided by seniors who have aced their internships. For both internships and placements, students need resources. So the intern and placement diaries provide these resources as an authentic and verified material. Students can look them up whenever they are in doubt. So AMA stands for Ask Me Anything session. The sessions are organized to discuss general topics like how LinkedIn can be effectively used or how a CV can be made more effective for internship and other opportunities. In these sessions, various guest speakers share their experience and knowledge with the students. Now, I would like to welcome our seniors, Mr. Arnab Samanta, Metallurgy batch of 2024, currently working in City Group, and Mr. Dishant Rai from Mining batch of 2024, currently working in FPL Technologies. Uh, and we also are congratulating them for the excellent achievement, and they will share some great insights today. Welcome, sir, to both of you.
Hello Ravi. Hello all.
Yeah. uh, So now we are going to officially begin the session. So, as usual, like I'm going to start by asking that very general question, like which point did both of you start preparing that for this particular domain like data science or data analytics? Like when was that particular point? Like you both like chose, okay, I'm going to do this, and you both of you started preparing for that.
Yeah, you can.
Who will go first?
I think you can decide among yours.
Okay, so I will begin. So I belong to IDD batch. So I had 5 years of course. 5 years is a plenty of time to discover. So I wasn't really sure about the data science profile and data analytics profile. In my first year, I actually scrolled through all the things, including like software development, web development courses, and data science was like machine learning through the workshops that have been organized by, let's say, electronics department, electrical department. And after that, we had 2 years of COVID break in which I actually was working mainly towards SD profile. But after the 2023 placements, the condition was not great at that time. So I decided to look which career path I would choose given the current conditions of the placements that were going on in 2023 December. So after that, I switched to data science and then I studied like 1 year completely for data science. So yeah, that was the point for me.
Yeah,
So
so I'll begin. Okay, you have a question.
yeah, now we can proceed to other questions.
Yeah. Hi everyone. So I did prepare for data science and data analytics at the end of my first year, as Suresh said that there was this COVID break, so it gave us a bit of opportunity to explore more. I was fascinated by data science profile in the first place itself. So yeah, and then I started seeing the pathways as to how do you prepare for data science and placements in general. Started with Python, and yeah, and then that's about it. So when I was preparing for data science, there were a few things that were specially required for analytics profile, and I also did prepare that. And yeah, and so my internship was also in data science. And after that, I sat for placements and then ended up in it. Yeah, so that's about it.
So now I proceed to the second question. Like this is also the very basic question, but important one though. Like what were the resources used by both of you during your prep? Like because for STE usually people use driver sheet. Like that it is very JE-fied, so they have a proper way. Like in when it comes to data science, people are still confused. So it would be really helpful if you both give insights about the resources.
So according to me, if someone is starting to like learn data science, there are actually plenty of resources available on YouTube. But if I have to give one advice, don't start with YouTube. Actually, there are very great YouTubers and create content creators over there, which you should come later. But if I have to start, I will generally take a course from Udemy, let's say basic data science course, which covers from top to bottom, go through stats, go through probability, go through maths, and then also Python is a very critical skill when it comes to data science, especially now. So once go through a course, full course, you get the breadth of the whole thing that you have to go through for data science. And then when you have to dig deeper, then you should go to YouTube. And if I have to name two content creators, one is Chris Naik and another is Campus X. Campus X is actually a very brilliant resource for anyone who wants to go deep into the algorithm side, math side, and he makes us understand very analytically, very critically, very good resource overall. If I have to like say learn the algorithms and basics of all the machine learning algorithms that we require to clear the interviews, Campus X is one of the best resources, I would say. And for more technical side of implementation, I would go for Chris Naik. Those two are very brilliant resources, and that I think will pretty much sum it up. And for also data science, you need to have good Python skills. For that, I would advise everyone to go for like lead code medium. That should do it.
No, Arnab, sir, do you want to add something on top of?
Yeah, sure. So, like, if you are stepping into this data science and analytics combined both, so if you don't know anything, I would suggest that you should try to learn those skills which are required in both the profiles. So, in data science, both online assessments and in interviews also, they are SQL. SQL is a compulsory and that is a non-negotiable skill that you have to learn. For that, I would recommend that you read the theory from W3 schools. It is very good. And then you practice on HackerRank and Lead Code. So I guess there is only a bunch of questions around 100 to 200 that you can finish. So for SQL, that will be more than enough to clear online assessments. And then in interviews, they usually ask theory questions as well, like based on joins, the input output. So that theory part will come from W3 schools. And let's say statistics is also highly asked in both analytics and this data science interview. For statistics, I would recommend you watch this playlist by Khan Academy. So it's like around 10 to 10-minute videos. There are about 70 videos, and it gives you a very in-depth analysis, in-depth knowledge of statistics. Let's say it starts from very basic mean, median, mode, then it goes to a bit tougher thing, inferential statistics, and then it also makes you practice questions. So it is very good resource that I even follow till now. And for Python, I would again suggest that for Python, there are a lot of resources, but stick to a course. Take a course either from Udemy, as Krishan mentioned, or yeah, and after that, these because these skills are necessary for both analytics and data science, right? So these are non-negotiable, right? And after that, what you can do for interviews and all for machine learning. These Krishna and Campus X are super great, but I would also like to add one more resource that is Josh Stammer's machine learning course. It is also very good and it also gives you a very in-depth analysis of various algorithm techniques that are used. And then if a data set is given, what are the first steps you will do? It is highly covered in that. And yeah, that pretty much covers it. But I would also suggest that if you are a bit more inclined toward data science, you should also practice lead code questions at least up to medium level, because they usually they will not ask them in the interview generally, but to clear online assessments, the test, you would definitely need those. So yeah, that was pretty much that I had to cover.
One thing I would like to add, since SQL is arguably the one of the most critical skills in data science, a resource that I used most was Data Lamour. It was a very, matlab, it's next level. It actually comprises of one of the hardest sets of PostgreSQL and SQL query questions that you will ever face. So I will type that up. Please follow this resource. This is actually a premium website. It involves a premium subscription, but a good chunk of it is actually a free. And if you solve the set of free questions that they provide, these are actually the interview questions that are asked by good companies like Facebook, Google, and etc. in SQL. If you get through this website, I can guarantee that you will never have any problem in SQL or PostgreSQL or anything ever. And one last thing I would like to add, for this wasn't the thing we were studying for placement, but given the rapid change in our field over the last 2 years, actually the frameworks are getting really important. Like one of my company itself is looking to hire people, hire freshers in the field of frameworks, like most importantly LLM based frameworks. So if you guys can just go through the materials which covers the basics of things like LangChain and LangGraph, so that you get the idea of how LLMs work, how can you integrate, not just build or anything, just integrate. And actually coding is also getting really important because of that reason only. So if you want to work with LangChain, you will need a software developer level knowledge of Python and object-oriented programming level of knowledge of Python. So I would advise you people to, if you are actually serious about data science, not just analyst, data science part, LangChain, LangGraph, and Python are one of the most critical skills according to me.
That was really good, like insight about data science. Like we didn't have this much idea previously, so all this sounds new. So now we move on to the next thing. Like, how does the interview procedure? How is like the interview procedure like? Like, I would like to start with Arnab here.
Yeah. So the companies, I don't know how many companies come right now because in our placements, I remember it was worse than 2023 one, right? So there were very less number of companies that came, and so I was also from IDD, and then for interviews, the it depends on the company, right? So if it is day one or day two company, generally there are 2 to 3 rounds. And if there is so there are specific companies in which there are more rounds. So let's say InfoEdge comes from data science profile. It usually takes 5 to 7 rounds. In our time, it took 7 rounds. And then let's say High Labs DS also comes. So I don't know how many rounds are there. I guess there would be 3 rounds. So generally, the interview rounds are broken as per the company. So if you read the forum discussions or the best suggestion I would give, if you are shortlisted for a certain company, talk to the senior of that company who is working currently in that particular company, and he will give you a more good brief as to how the rounds are distributed. So let's say it might happen that in the first round of high level, I'm just giving example. Please do not take this seriously. Let's say they are only asking Python based questions. Let's say be it with theory or some bit of DS also. So and then they would in next round they might catch you upon algorithms and the projects that you have worked on, and the third might be a bit mix of both. So it depends upon company to company, but the general guideline is that you should consult a person who is currently working over there, and they will give you a more good idea as to what you should prepare if you are specifically targeting for that company. Otherwise, these preparation things that we have mentioned, you have to keep this very rigorous, and you should be familiar to all concepts. But if you are like, let's say if you are shortlisted for InfoEdge, a day or two prior you could specifically मतलब ज्यादा उसको देख सकते हो, मतलब ऐसे कि उस स्पेसिफिक कंपनीज का क्या पूछ रही है, एंड देन इट चेंजेस अकॉर्डिंगली. तो इतना ही रहता है इंटरव्यूज का.
Thank you, Bhaiya. And now I proceed to Dushyant Kalwar.
So Arnav almost covered everything. Like डेटा साइंस कंपनीज में क्या होता है कि कंपनी टू कंपनी इंटरव्यू का स्ट्रक्चर बहुत डिफरेंट होता है. लाइक मैं जिस कंपनी में हूँ अभी, उसका इंटरव्यू वाज अ लॉट डिफरेंट देन अदर इंटरव्यूज. एंड even though in interviews that I wasn't the part of, they, like, let's say sprinkler data science interviews completely different from FPL data science interview. So sprinkler is mainly focused on DSA for data science rules, and the kind of work they made data scientists do is code filtering and all. So actually they focus a lot on data science for data structures and algorithm for data science students. But a company like FPL, in which I am currently employed, they don't ask data structures and algorithm questions. So in data science, you actually have to cover a very big breadth, lot of different things that you might never get to use in your interviews. So some companies like InfoAge, they ask a lot of mathematical questions. They go like they cover the depth of every topic they choose to interview. So if you are interviewing for something like InfoAge, everything you have studied for them, you have to literally like nail it to the depth. For some companies like FPL, you just have to cover the basics of entire breadth of your resume or what the projects you have done. If you are interviewing for a company like Sprinkler, they don't care about your resume. They don't care about anything. They don't. they only care about the thing they want from you, like data structures and algorithm. They heavily rely on it. So, and most of the companies in data science are actually data analyst based companies, and they ask SQL and generic questions, some case studies and all. It's really important. Case studies and guesstimates are one of the most frequently asked pattern wise questions in data science and data analyst. So yeah, that's it.
Is guesstimates asked for data science or only for data analytics?
They, my company asked the FPL Technologies actually asked the guesstimates from me.
For data science also. Okay, this is a like new information. Mostly seniors inside the campus, they don't tell what exactly happens in the interview procedure. They just ask us to follow the some YouTube channels and what to study. But this is like more elaborate. So now I also want to ask.
Is who are in data science, they don't know most of them are not really the core data science. Like some companies are in data science are looking for the candidates which are very tech heavy. Some companies are looking for the candidates which are really math heavy, statistics heavy. So if a company is testing your skills, like your ability to think, they will ask estimates.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I want to add that to Dishan, that actually for data science field it is a bit tricky because you will at a certain point of time will feel that okay, you are am I preparing for data analytics, data science, or SD, because it covers actually, if you see the estimates, case studies, and these things are generally asked in an analytics heavy or product heavy role. But in some data companies like in City, although it was not data center or data analyst, they did ask me case studies, which I didn't prepare very thoroughly, but I made it somehow. And in some companies like InfoEdge, so they really dig deep into the mathematics, as Drishan told. So they asked me convex and concave function. So as if you are preparing for data science and analytics role, then you are expected, at least from interview perspective, that you should know some of everything, because I was not very good at DSA. So I was not able to clear those interviews which were very DSA heavy, and they were asking very tough DP questions or graph questions. So in that I was not able to do. So this is something you have to keep in mind, that if you're preparing for this particular role, you should you should know some of every word. Yeah, so that's it.
That was really like a nice suggestion. So now I want to ask the most important question, like how to be consistent. Consistent in the sense like for ST, they say you have to do it like every single day for a particular number of hours. Similarly for DSL, DS, like or DA, like how should we manage this along with our like you course, and like how many hours should we study? What are we supposed to do? Like everyone is like consistency is the biggest problem everyone is facing.
Uh, so let me start with this. So I believe that it is like you should assess yourself first at what point you are starting. So some of my friends started studying for placements like very near, like around May, April में उन्होंने पढ़ना चालू किया, December में placements. So it really depends, because then your priority to things change, because then you cannot go in very depth of a certain very algorithm, because you know कि अगर वो नहीं आया तो दूसरा thing मेरा easy छूट जाएगा. So this is a bit problematic, right? So to be consistent, what I suggest is that company these days, you know, give you real world problems and see how you react to those, right? They won't ask you like straight away questions ki random forest का explanation बता दो. Although they do expect you to have that knowledge, but जो trend देखा गया है उसमें ये बोला गया है कि you have this particular data set. अब इसमें what you will do as a data scientist, इस टाइप के questions थोड़े आजकल ज्यादा आते हैं, and they want to test you. अगर आप उसमें सीधा बोल दो कि मैं ये कर दूंगा, ये कर दूंगा, ये कर दूंगा, and this is the step I'll follow, it will not work, because data is different in every company, right? And you need to deal with those. उसके लिए I would suggest कि आप जितना भी आपने किया है, पढ़ा है, डेटा साइंस, एनालिटिक्स, सीक्वल, जो भी किया है आपने, आप चैट जीपीटी पे जाइए और उसको एज एन इंटरव्यूअर बना के आप उसको ऐसा प्रॉम्प्ट दीजिए कि यू आर एन इंटरव्यूअर एंड यू नीड टू आस्क मी रियल वर्ल्ड प्रॉब्लम्स। और आप मान लो कि आज एमएल का करना है आपको पूरा कवर, so you tell him that you should behave as a data scientist and ask me real world questions. So it will help you prepare better. And one more important tip I would like to give to be consistent कि क्या होता है कि लोग प्लेसमेंट का प्रिपेयर कर लेते हैं एंड देन नवंबर में सारे मॉक इंटरव्यूज देना चालू करते हैं। तो मॉक इंटरव्यूज आप रेगुलर इंटरवल पे दो। थोड़ा जैसे अभी जो भी सितंबर तो अभी ठीक है, थोड़ा लेट लेट है, बट आप जैसे ही इंटर्नशिप के बाद आते हो तो लेट्स से पहले मंथ में आप 2 या 3 इंटर दे रहे हो, नेक्स्ट मंथ आप थोड़ा उसको बढ़ाइए, 4-5 कीजिए, फिर नवंबर आते आते आपको कॉन्फिडेंस बिल्ड होगा, बिकॉज दैट इज ऑल्सो interviewing skills are also as much important as the technical skills you require. So, and to be consistent in those, at least I believe that you should not focus on a single topic. Like आप जैसे आप अगर आपने ऐसा बोल दिया कि मुझे इस हफ्ते या इस महीने सिर्फ एमएल करना है, तो ऐसा मत करो आप हर दिन थोड़ा सा एसक्यूएल करो, थोड़ा सा एमएल करो, बिकॉज आप एक साथ करोगे ना तो आपका हर फील्ड में कंसिस्टेंसी बना रहेगा। यू विल नॉट फॉरगेट थिंग्स, बट ऐसा होगा कि आपने एक महीना एमएल कर लिया, अगले महीने सीक्वल किया, फिर आप एमएल भूल जाओगे, उसको रिवाइज करोगे, फिर सीक्वल भूल जाओगे। तो instead, I suggest you allocate some time to each of these topics and do practice more interviews, mock interviews for basically.
सो अर्नव ऑलमोस्ट कवर्ड एवरीथिंग। मैं बस एक ही चीज ऐड करूंगा इसमें कि मेरे हिसाब से कंसिस्टेंसी हमेशा मतलब आप मेंटेन नहीं कर सकते। तो आपको सबसे पहले क्या होता है कि कंसिस्टेंट नहीं हो, इस बात का गिल्ट लेना बंद करना होगा, क्योंकि वन डे क्या है कि आपको लगा कि आप कंसिस्टेंट नहीं हो और फिर इट विल अफेक्ट द अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम यू आर गिविंग टू योर स्टडीज इन द नेक्स्ट डे। सो फर्स्टली अवॉइड दैट। जो बीत गया वो बीत गया, आगे का देखते हैं। और दूसरा, कभी भी आवर्स के बेसिस पे नहीं कि मतलब यार 5 घंटे पढ़ना है, 6 घंटे पढ़ना है, 10 घंटे पढ़ना है, इस बेसिस पे कभी भी नहीं, मतलब ये कंसिस्टेंसी नहीं होता, ये बेसिकली आप अपने आप को बांध रहे हो। आई वुड लाइक टू पुट इट लाइक, थिंक ऑफ दिस वे कि हाँ मेरे को आज ये एल्गोरिथम्स पे अपना टाइम देना है, ठीक है। लाइक करना सेट कि हाँ यू फर्स्टली यू शुड अलोकेट द टाइम फॉर द थिंग्स दैट यू हैव टू डू, लाइक हाफ एन आवर 1 आवर फॉर सीक्वल प्रैक्टिस, फिर हाफ एन आवर 1 आवर फॉर पाइथन, ये सब तो आपको करना ही है। बट आपको जो कोर कोर थिंग्स लर्न करनी है ना, उनके लिए बेसिकली आप टॉपिक्स को अपना टाइम टेबल बनाओ, टॉपिक्स पे अपना टाइम दो कि हाँ ये टॉपिक मेरे को इतने टाइम तक करना ही करना है, ऐसे करके। मतलब आप ऐसे बोलोगे कि नहीं आज मैं 5 घंटे पढ़ूंगा, और अगर ये आपका मतलब मोटो रहेगा तो आप कंसिस्टेंट कभी बन नहीं पाओगे। बस इतना ही है।
Okay, and now we want both of you to like answer the questions in the chat because there are a lot of questions shooted by the viewers in the chat, like mostly based on DSA.
सो मैं डीएसए के इन जनरल टॉपिक को मतलब बोलूंगा। डीएसए बहुत रिक्वायर्ड होता है। ओए तो लगभग हर कंपनी में पूछ ही लेते हैं डीएसए। कुछ कुछ कंपनीज होती है जो कि बहुत हार्ड डीएसए पूछती है, लाइक स्प्रिंकलर फॉर एग्जांपल। जब टेस्ट हुआ था तो उसमें 10 एमसीक्यूज और 3 डीएसए के क्वेश्चंस थे, एंड दोज हु आर आस्किंग वेदर दे आस्क डीपी और नॉट, यस दे डू आस्क डीपी। दे आस्क 2 क्वेश्चंस ऑफ डीपी एंड 1 क्वेश्चन ऑन बाइनरी सर्च ऑन आंसर एक्चुअली। सो हाई लेवल्स में भी अच्छे डीएसए के क्वेश्चंस थे। आई डोंट रिमेंबर द टॉपिक एग्जैक्टली। सो यस, अब फिर कुछ कंपनीज है लाइक इन्फोएज, दे आस्क 40 एमसीक्यूज मैथ बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस एंड नो डीएसए। फिर कुछ कंपनीज हैं लाइक एफपीएल टेक्नोलॉजी का जो डीएस का टेस्ट होता है, इट्स एक्चुअली लाइक दे आस्क मैथमेटिक्स ऑफ जे एडवांस लेवल। यू विल गेट आस्क third order differential equations which don't make sense the kind of work we do here, no relevance here, but they do ask to test your skills. General aptitude questions and mostly are the mix of good mathematical questions. You will never see those kind of questions in any other companies. Some companies like in DA role like Deloitte, they will ask you everything. Like I saw the whole test of them were MCQ based questions. I saw questions from advertising model to cloud computing to general logical reasoning based question and whatever, everything they have asked. So for those companies you can't do much, you just have to rely on the things you have already learned. So coming to the DSA, it's really important. But if you are for DA role, don't consider this like it's make or break situation. DSA is important, but it's not make or break situation for you. And the companies which will ask DSA, they will ask good. They will ask you good DSA. Like DP is something that is getting very common to ask in IITs, because the people who are getting hired, they are hired after learning DSA, so they will like inherently they will have in their subconscious to ask DP questions. It's very common these days. So get used to the lead code medium kind of DP, and if you can do graph is not really that important from the the questions I have ever seen in data science aptitude questions. But DP is something very frequent. DP, binary search topics, general trees topic. These are something that you should cover if you are focusing on mainly DS profile. Then it gets critical.
When should we actually start preparing, start with the DSA? Because if we start DSA, we have to do consistently every day. So, like, if we, so when is the right time to start DSA for data science? कि
So
सारे interviews clear
yeah,
कर सकते हैं.
DSA is not something that you can do in 2-3 months, 4 months time, right? So in my case, I actually started with DSA because I was preparing for SDE profile. So I don't know actually what's the good time. The sooner you start, the better. And if you are like say starting to prepare 4 months, 5 months before the placement season is going to begin, then don't start with DSA. You will only waste your time. Focus on mostly aptitude, the time module that we do, CAT type of questions. Those are more important because you have to clear the online assessment test to get into the interviews first. If they ask DSA questions there, no big deal. You didn't study for it, no problem. But first you have to go into interviews. So I would say at that time, if like, let's say starting 4-5 months before, focus on the aptitude, logical reasoning, data interpretation kind of stuff. Those are more important. Someone is asking what is the level of aptitude asked in OA. So I actually feel that they are very close to CAT based question, like the ones you get asked in CAT exam. In fact, we have a whole Google Drive link where we get all the questions from Times module of for CAT preparation, and the questions were very similar. Who is yes? Don't get.
So, I would like to take up a next question. So someone has asked, do we need to cover deep learning and Gen AI to for data science role? So yeah. So see, as I mentioned, nowadays earlier it was that you could go away not learning Gen AI, at least Gen AI itself. But today companies like people what people will do now, they will learn these things, right? And when interviewer sees that he has knowledge of machine learning and these deep learning and all, if it is a resume based shortlisting thing, then you are most likely to get shortlisted if they find that these particular skills are necessary. And talking about resources, so there are different types. As in, if you want to cover on surface level deep learning, you could follow Krish Naik. He is good. But if you really want to go into deep and you are someone who is preparing for data science as well as some deep learning oriented roles, then I would suggest that at least for deep learning basics, you should see Andrew Karpathy. I will write this in the chat. So it has a zero to hero course in his on his YouTube channel. Then you could see his course. It is a bit long, but if you are starting early, then you can cover it. It will like cover every basic thing. So you would be able to answer from your intuition, and if situational question, you will be able to ask. Talking about LLM, so one resource that I followed because I was specifically somewhat also I was more inclined toward deep learning and these kind of roles. I would suggest that there is a Stanford course. Again, this is the course which I recommend only if you are starting very early because these are long courses. So there is this CS 685 course. I'll also write this CS 685. This is the course where you will uncover LLMs in depth and how the state of art LLMs are currently present in the current scenario and how they are behaving and all these things. These are covered in that particular course. But matlab, as I will again mention this, don't do it if you are like, let's say, 3 or 4 months away from placements. As also Dishan mentioned that doing DSA also will take away a lot of time and it will not create that much impact, because if even if you do 3 4 months DSA, many people have done 2 or 3 years of DSA and they will nail the questions very easily, because it is about practice in case of DSA. The more you practice, the better. And in that short amount of time, you have a lot to consider other than DSA. So yeah, that I hope that answered the question.
So, for example, there is a IDT student who's in second year. So like his internship will be in fourth year, and the placement session, as you guys know, will be in fifth year. So, like for SD roles, also he needs the same amount of DSA. And for now data science online assessment also he if he needs to do 2 years of DSA with extra stuff. But like uh, in when it comes to SE, the portions are same. Portions are like now he has less amount of stuff to study. Like which is preferable? Like is 2 years of DSA too much for data science store? Like I asked him that.
It's not too much for anything. I will give you example of two companies. In my experience, I appeared for nearly all the data science companies. Two companies only required a good level of DSA. One is Sprinkler and one is High Labs. No other company required that. Okay. So, and no matter how much amount of DSA you study, you are never going to get exhausted by it. It's endless. But the more amount you study, the more confident you get. It's good for you. It's not like it may be that in the company which you finally get shortlisted for and interviewing for won't require DSA at all. Like my company, I invested a lot of my time focusing upon companies like Sprinkler, High Labs, and all. And in none of my interviews, I got like any DSA question. So that is not wasted. That will actually come to help sometime. Let's say when I interview for the next company in job switching, DSA is something that will help you. In data science, DSA is inevitable. You will need to have a good understanding of it. So even if it doesn't work for you in IIT BHU college placements, it will work for you in future job switch and etc. So it's never too much.
So it's like CP also required along with data science.
I think lead
Uh,
code is enough.
because some people say that I did CP because of which I my logic improved. And so after doing CP, when I moved to lead code, it was more easier for me. The data science people also said like,
I also did I also did try to learn CP, but it's not for everyone. If someone is able to do the CP questions on code forces, it's really great for him. But it doesn't mean that someone who hasn't done any amount of code forces will struggle in lead code. No.
but I think for ST they say it is like inevitable doing CP.
Yeah, CP helps a lot for SDE students, but I have actually have seen many friends who have actually really suffered in CP on code forces, but did great on lead code and actually did good in placements.
Now
What
that sounds
actually
like
decided?
really hopeful. So like after this, like any insight about how like the hiring process happens in Mastercard, where they also hire for data scientists, like in the recent years.
So I actually did appear for Mastercard interview, but so one thing you will have to get really comfortable with is how would I put it? Sometimes it might feel you that it's unfair, but you really
Okay.
have to go get comfortable with the fact that not everything will be fair in placements. So stop victimizing yourself. Ki it wasn't my fault. So what happened in Mastercard? Four out of the five. I had four students in my batch. Five out of the four students that they interviewed first was the four people they hired. Rest of the interviews were just like killing time for them. They come offline. They take your interviews in a very friendly manner. But what happens is sometimes the interviewers just let's say they have four slots to fill, and if they find the 4 candidates, they need to fill the gap. So they will just end the process from their side, but they will actually continue taking interviews. So don't get disheartened by that. It's not your fault.
So like the first four people shortlisted, like that in their shortlisted ranking.
Actually, shortlist came in a random order. It
Okay.
wasn't okay. I was in middle of somewhere, but what actually they did, I will have to be brutally honest. First, they made a sort main list and then a wait list. And when I looked at the list, I found that all the main list are BTech students and all the wait list are IDT students. So one so some sort of discrimination there. And even in the main list that they put, one person who was actually some he has some sources in there, so he was able to from IDD he managed to have an interview in the first 5 people, and actually he was the one who didn't get selected.
Oh,
But it doesn't
it's
matter.
And
You just focus on your interview performance. Some company will get to know about you, how good you are, and they will pick you. If not one, then another, then another. But get ready for the unfair treatment. Hiring process is just like that. It won't be fair for everyone.
so I would
So
like to add something to this point. Yeah, and then this is quite true. Like generally it is seen that if the company finds, because in High Labs, I think one of my two of my friends got shortlisted, but they were also from IIT, but they were not able to make it. I think just because their interview was conducted late. This was one primary reason, and this trend generally happens. So if you so it I guess it also depends a lot of luck, because the order in which shortlist comes does not necessarily means that interview also will happen in that particular order. So I'll just mention that in my case, for Citibank, there were around 25 to 30 people shortlisted, all IDD people. But my interview was conducted in the very last. So I was the last person to get hired. So it doesn't mean that if you are giving last, you have a low chance of, but generally it is seen that if the company finds some suitable candidate, they will hire them first. So if you know someone at TPC, do emphasize on giving your interview first, because it will have a better chance of you ending up in that company. So that is a true fact that cannot be ignored.
I would also like to share my experience in FPL itself. So I will treat you like a story. It's a story really. So what happened? FPL DS gave a shortlist of 82 people. Okay, and the placement cell they uploaded the shortlist like a list of 82 people. There was no mention of wait list, main list, or any such sort of things. So I was 42 in the number. Okay, so my number was 42 in the list, and there were 82 people or 83 people for shortlisted for the interview. But what happened was during the interview, it got bifurcated into main list and wait list. And when the main list and wait list came, there were total 33 students shortlisted for main list, right? And I was 33rd of that. So I was the last student in that shortlist. So you can assume why I was 42 in the whole list, because that list wasn't right, or some people from the bottom actually did make up through some sort of help in the main list. But when interviews started to happen, the company took whole process under their control. They started कि हाँ this is my main list, हम इनकी interviews लेंगे, and they actually scheduled ahead of time कि हाँ इसका इसका interview इस टाइम पे हम लेंगे. Google Meet link सबको भेज दी गई थी. And what happened कि day 2.1 में था, day 2 slot 1 में it starts from I think 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock I guess. So मेरा फर्स्ट राउंड ही 3:30 बजे शेड्यूल करा हुआ था. ठीक है, तो any sane person who had given their interview in the day one, I gave actually 4 companies, so they would know कि यार इतने लेट अगर इंटरव्यू हो रहा है तो मेरा तो नहीं होगा. बट आई वॉज द लास्ट वन टू इंटरव्यू, एंड मेरा इंटरव्यू ही day 2 slot 1 से बाहर हुआ था, इवन तो इट वॉज फॉर day 2 slot 1. उसके बाद भी मेरे 3 राउंड्स में तीनों राउंड मतलब अच्छे से दिए मैंने. एंड इफ यू आर सुटेबल इनफ फॉर देम, दे विल हायर यू. सो यू I just said ki you have to be ready for unfair treatment, but you don't have to expect unfair treatment everywhere. You will get treated very fairly in some companies also. That's it.
Okay, that was like very like unofficial. Like not this is like very like not many people have told about this. Like we are very grateful to receive all this information from both of you. And how much important role did PR play in your resume? Like see, zero.
It doesn't matter. If I am an interviewer, I would look to your skills, I will look through your experience, and I will look through your projects, and then I won't look anything further. It's all just the longer your position of responsibility, honors, and achievement section is, the more it tells about how much space do you have left in your resume to fill with random junk. I will have to be very honest. Some companies actually do look like uh, if you are in a product management role, these things do
Mm.
make sense. But in data science, it just indicates that you have less amount of work you have done in your 5 year or 4 year or whatever you have. So you have to fill the resume because you have to fill one page of resume, right? So you're
Mm.
using PORs. I'm not saying don't put it. I'm just saying that keep it short, like one or two max.
Okay. Like many people are running behind PO or leaving their in like very
If you have a good POR,
important time.
no problem. But don't like fake it because it will have any impact in your placements, interviews. No, it won't.
Okay.
So I would like to add something to this. So matlab, as per my experience, what I saw where your help is in the last round, in HR round, where they will ask that do you have some leadership skills? But to make it to that round, it like you should consider that there is an enormous amount of, and if you make it to the HR round, I would not say it shorts your placement, but though that at that point of time you have almost your entire competition is eliminated in the first, second, or third, how many rounds. So for that you are in a good state of mind because then will have more confidence. So think it that way. It will help, but it will not overshadow the skills that you have run, which are more important to them. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Raya. So and like any examples of group discussion or business problem statements you faced in your interview in the placement time?
I actually didn't face any group discussion round of interviews, so I can't answer that. If Arnav has something, then he can.
No, I also did not go through any GDs.
Oh,
So yeah, I don't.
very rare. Very
Huh.
rare.
And there are only very few rules in which, like, I think in Flipkart APM, I don't know if this is true or not. I think they have to have a GD, but
In fact,
that is very specific to certain companies.
I would like to put it that way. You can't be really sure about it. For example, I interviewed for Mastercard. The year prior to that, they had a group discussion round. They had a huge number of shortlist, and they actually did have a group discussion round. But year in which I interviewed for Mastercard, they didn't have any such sort of group discussion round.
And I would also like to ask this question. This is like a very like serious question. Some people have right. Usually, what was the highest package for data science role offered during your year? Like it's just a like out of box
I
question.
think Infosys was the most well paid.
नहीं, I think Navi का था, but actually Navi खुली नहीं थी for
Actually
open all
open
that.
for everyone, and those the branches for it was open. It was open. Those people actually preferred for Navi SD. So there was no
हाँ,
hiring in Navi DS. But actually Navi DS pays really well, equivalent to their SD candidates.
yes.
Okay.
So in 2023, it did hire Navi DS because in from our branch, one person also got into Navi DS. But in our time, they did not have. I don't know about
Oh,
yeah.
actually, I
So
remember the company last year, it was Ola IITS. They were like
हाँ
paying
हाँ
2 lakh base, but they didn't really hire much people, I think.
हाँ हाँ उन्होंने भी नहीं किया था. It did open, but उन्होंने भी नहीं हायर किया था. One more
Now is
company,
AI opens, right?
Accenture, I think Accenture भी थी. अब उसका AI आर्किटेक्ट करके रोल था. I don't remember. But हाँ वो
Hire.
भी पे. हम्म?
They also didn't hire for that role.
हाँ हायर तो नहीं किया था, बट मतलब for just documentation purposes just like that.
Okay. So usually how many companies come to DS compared to ST or any other domain? Like which domain has the highest? And can you like give a rough idea about those figures? Because the
So,
details which TPC give is like very hard to comprehend.
so if you have to bifurcate the question firstly, क्योंकि how many students for DS or DS plus DE?
Like I'm not like first we'll start with the
So I
students
will,
only who are preparing for DS.
so I will answer you this. Only 11 people get hired for DS role in the phase one of placement. Total 11 students in core. The company which said they're hiring for DS and total 11 companies, 11 students were hired, four of which went to one card FPL technology only. So you can guess the number of companies that actually came for DS roles. But DS people also sit for DA, and it's really common. You have to sit for DA because there are not really that much number of companies for strictly DS rules. Okay, but also in that very same year, in March or April, I guess there was a company from named like
Genpact.
Impact. They hired 15 people straight away for DS role, and most of the students were also from SD profile because they were left over.
Hmm.
So I can't really say how many people will get hired in phase one of DS placements, but if you have prepared for DS profile, it's not that tough to get hired in that profile altogether. Like you will get hired, not in phase one,
Okay.
but there are lots of opportunities for DS also.
Okay. That is again hopeful, a hopeful information. Like now, because of this time constraint we have to move forward, and I hope I have cleared almost, covered almost all the sections, like all different angles and perspectives of these placements, preparations, strategy, or like what to study and everything, and how the process goes behind the scenes and stuff. So this was a very insightful session, and I thank both of you for such wonderful insights and giving us your precious time. Now I would like to present an online memento for our guests. Uh, I'll share the screen and I'll present it. First, I would like to present to Arnab Bhaiya. Uh,
Thank you so much. It was wonderful connecting to college after such a long period of time.
Thank you, Bhaiya. Uh, Now I would present this memento to Dishkant Rai Bhaiya.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, everyone. It was a really good session, and I would just like to end on this note that college placements are really tough phase of for your life, but the 4 days of the phase one will seem like very tough, very rigorous. You will go a day off without eating, but in the end, when you get done with it and you get placed, the feeling is really unexplainable, and it boosts your confidence for the further future of your life, whatever. So all the
And I
best.
also want to add a thing which I missed. Like now, some people want to ask questions by turning on their mics. So can we start like for some
Yeah,
time?
yeah,
They,
yes. So,
so when people raise their hand, they can. I'll say the name and you can ask questions. Okay, now Achintya Singh wants to ask some question. He can unmute and ask.
Who is asking?
Hello. Achintya wanted to ask. Oh, Achintya, you are not audible. Okay, let Nivant go. He has also raised his hand. You can proceed after Nivant. Nivant, you can unmute and ask your question.
My question is, can AI replace data science roles in future?
ठीक है. Bye. So, who
He,
is asking this question?
Nivant is asking this question.
So, will Arnab answer or I will answer?
I can go ahead.
Okay.
So see, so at industrial level, data science is very important because it is like data is everything, right? Everything is built on top of data. So you need to understand that the Gen AI thing you are mentioning, it also comes at a lot of cost, right? And these companies usually optimize the cost as well. So if let's say linear regression is working for their problem, they will use linear regression. Even if it is giving 95%, I'm just, it's hypothetical, linear regression never gives 95%. Even if they are getting 95% and using Gen AI, if you are getting 97, they will definitely go for linear regression because costs also do matter. So I guess as per my prediction, it will not be replaced.
I think Nivant, you got your answer. Now
Yeah, I got it.
Achintya, you can either ask through your chat, or if your mic is working, you can talk. I think Achintya is asking through chat. If anyone else has questions, you can raise your answer.
How can we answer this salary question? It's really dependent on the company to company. You will see them on portal, right? If you want a range 5 lakh to 35 lakhs, but it's nonsense. Any other question?
I think it's only Achintya, and he's typing his question.
This is a really tricky question. People cleared people cleared their interviews with just one OA, and some people had 20 shortlists and gave 15 interviews but didn't make it in the first phase of placements. But usually if you have 5 6 shortlist for interviews, I think you have a really good chance of securing a seat in a placement cell. But it's not a
Uh,
very strict number that you have to follow. It varies for people to people, but the more you have, the better.
I would just like to add to this. So yeah, of course, the more shortlist, the better. But as I mentioned, all of the preparation stuff, all this is fine. But you have to be very smart about placements as well, because sometimes what happens, questions from other ITs get leaked, and you will definitely be joining, I guess, in 1 or 2 months these placement groups. So if some questions come, do solve it and go, because I remember the first OA I give was of Misho, and everything was copied from another IT. And what happened was that out of three questions, I solved two because I had already solved those in the previous when the questions came. But one question was very tough, and that was a differentiating factor. So if you just go there and think I will be able to solve aptitude or anything, like, it is not applicable to like profile specific. You should, if you are getting questions, do solve those ahead of this because there is a very high likely, high chance that those will be repeated. So be smart about it. Uh, don't think that this is something of integrity and stuff like that because then you will be left behind. So yeah, be smart about placements. Of course, other things you have to keep your concepts good and everything that is on side, but be smart.
Because if you don't solve because of ethics and all, somebody else will, and
Correct.
he will have an
Correct.
advantage in the exam. And one more thing I would like to, it's not related to the question. The last thing I have is the time management in interviews. So I will give my example. On day two, I had four companies to interview: Deloitte, Aspect Ratio, FPL Technologies, and Extria. In slot one, there were three companies: Deloitte, Aspect Ratio, and FPL. So after day one experience, I knew that after first two companies I will get exhausted, and Deloitte was not something I was planning to get into, and Aspect Ratio had huge number of shortlists, so I wasn't really sure that how much opportunity do I really have here. So when they called me for the interview, when my number came, I denied because I had to manage my time. So I was preparing for slot 2 Extria and slot 1 FPL Technologies because those were the companies I knew I had a real chance because they are interviewing perfectly with fairness, and the kind of assessment they have done and kind of companies they are. So prioritize, just because you have a lot of, I had total 15 shortlists, but I didn't appear for all. Like on day two, I gave up on two companies in slot one before getting placed. So time is really important, but you also have to preserve your energy for the companies you want to get placed in, the companies you have a real chance. Don't waste your energy in an interview. Like on day one, I interviewed for nearly 10 hours for all companies combined, and it exhausted me. In the last interview, I was like, ठीक है, ले लो इंटरव्यू, मुझे नहीं दे, मतलब मुझे नहीं फर्क पड़ता, बस इंटरव्यू मुझे देना है तो दे दो. But I was so exhausted that results didn't make me wowed or sad. So preserve your energy for
Uh,
interview and schedule it wisely.
I would like to add one point to it. This is something you should be doing at last 3 to 4 days of your after all your shortlist comes. So some companies will hold you and not uh, allow you to give other like info edge. What it does, it takes so many rounds. If you get shortlisted for info edge and let's say two more other companies, if you believe that those two companies give you a better chance, because I would practically speak, info edge does not would round four maybe काट सकते हो, round five maybe काट सकते. There is no guarantee over there. एंड व्हाट इट विल डू इफ यू अपीयर फॉर इन्फो एज, आपके 5 6 राउंड वो पूरा कंज्यूम हो जाएगा, आप दूसरे के दे नहीं पाओगे. सिमिलरली स्प्रिंकलर ऑल्सो डज द सेम थिंग. ये आपको पकड़ के ही रखेगी, बिठा के रखेगी. सो व्हेन यू बिलीव कि आपको वहां पर खुद कॉल लेना पड़ेगा कि आपके 3 शॉर्ट लिस्ट है, at a very very rare chance you will be able to give all three. It is nearly impossible to give three. किस्मत अच्छी रही तो दो, and then one. So you have to set your priority list because at the end of the day they also do ask your priority list to give interview. So think accordingly.
Yeah.
That was like really insightful. So I think overall, like these were the doubts, and I thank both of you very much, like for clearing all these doubts. These doubts, like we can't find any answers for these doubts on ChatGPT or either on Quora or anywhere else, like other than real human resources, like you people who experience that situation. So now once again, I thank you both of you for joining us today on the behalf of Student Counselling Services and Career Council. I wish you like the very best for your journey ahead. And to others who are also preparing for placements and internships present in this meeting, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. And I
Thank
was
you everyone.
part of Sakha. SCS itself. So you all the best for your placements, and I would like to just say that if you feel like you have some questions for me, or you really want to want some mock done in my free time, and if you want any kind of help related to a placement, I know it's very tough and guidance is really necessary. So please feel free to ping me. I will make some time for the placement and for you guys. No hesitation, please.
Yeah, thank you, Ravina, and thank you, SCS, for having me and Krishnan over here. It
Thank,
was a really good session and really great time for us to be interacting with our children. Thank you, and
thank you.
all the best for the placements.
So I think we can end the meet. Yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone
bye.
can leave.